Do you see my screen? There is a terminal.
Yes, that looks good so far.
Okay, and this is a log from the mapper.
Perfect. Sorry, just to preface, so we're looking at the configurable Azure mapper now with a precursor to making all of the mappers configurable. So remember that, so it's not just specific to the Azure stuff. This will be in other mappers eventually. So the concepts are very valid for all the mappers we have. Okay, thanks, Didier.
Okay, so here are the mappers that is running. So I will just restart just to show you. This is just a regular mapper. I'm here just using this on the command line. So this is a mappers that connect to Azure. And indeed, I'm connected. I can check this again. Yes. And this is a new implementation of the mapper that is fully backward compatible. For instance, I can send a measurement, and so I can send a measurement. And indeed, I will observe this measurement here. Here, I observe this measurement has been sent to the local AZ topic, and this has been forwarded by the bridge to the remote Azure. And so this is fully compatible implementation. However, this is extensible. Everything is done using test flows. So this has been introduced during the previous demo. And this one, in that case, we have two files. The main one being this one, so the MEA TOML. And I will just have a look to this file. And this is a regular workflow definition. Sorry, test flow definition. So this flow will consume messages coming from MQTT over a series of topics. For instance, right now I just sent something over a measurement. And there are a sequence of transformation steps. They are built in, for instance, here I add a timestamp, and I can control the maximum size to be sent over the network. And this is a test flow definition of the legacy AZ mapper. The main difference now is that you can update, configure this, for instance, for instance, I will just change the format of, so I will use C, let me be 9. So, yeah. So this flow has been reloaded. And indeed, if I change now, if I send the same measurement, I will have something that is different. Now the temperature is received. Sorry, is no more using Unix timestamp. That's different. The other messages are just because I restarted the mapper. So on start, we have plenty of messages are sent. But the main message is the previous one using Unix, and the new one using the RFC standard. So just a simple transformation. But I can do better. What I can do is to add custom scripts. For instance, if I just send a measurement to here, I can say, oh, this is, I can provide a type for this measurement. And if I look to what is being processed, I just have this type has been lost, has not been sent to Azure. This is the behavior of the regular SEO mapper, but I would like to do better. So I will do two things. I will add a script. No, I will just add a script. So I have the script there that is now a new script. And this script is just telling, oh, I would like to add the type to this file. So this is a script for test flows. And this script will be applied to all the messages. And in that case, I will just consume the message topic to split this topic and to extract the type. I have to know this is the last one. And I will also pass the message payload and inject the type there that is extracted from the topic. And I emit again this message now updated with the measurement type. This is not enough. I have a new script, but this script has not been plugged into the flows. So to do so, I just have to add a new step. This time, this is a script. This is no more something that is built in by Tedge. And so is remember the name of the script. So the custom is GS. So this has been reloaded. There is something is wrong. Yes. In that case, there is no config. It's just something that works. Yeah, this is being reloaded. And now, if I send measurements with some type, this type has been added to the measurement. So this is the first kind of change you can have, is simply to add your own steps to a flow that is provided by a built-in mapper. Currently, this is done for the Azure mapper, but we plan to do this for all the mappers, including the mapper to Curiosity. Next step, you can also add your own flows. Right now, I just have one. So I just have one flow, this MEA TOML flow. And I will add another one. So I will do this in two steps. So first, adding the script, then adding the so I just looking the log. I will see plenty of messages push on the log. This is because the script is the side effect is pushing data to the log, so the JavaScript. So the script is consuming messages as before. At that time, we are looking for messages with just 5 parts, and this is messages are known on Tedge to register devices, child devices, services. You can tell, oh, I have a new child device, and this is the ID of this device. We take the prefix of the topic to say, oh, this is the ID of the device, and we attach some data, metadata to this device, and this metadata are pushed over this message. And here I do somehow nothing with this. I need nothing, so it's nothing pushed by this script. I just store everything in the context. So this is something that will be very, very useful in the future. You can share data between different flows. So this script just set something about this entity and store some metadata about this entity. And this is just doing stuff. And I can now use this in a flow. And this flow is consuming Synergy metadata about devices and services, and just using this registration step. For instance, I will just show you an example of such message. So I will emit this message. So this is to have a new child device, and to say that this is a child device and this name, and so there is some child type. And this has been processed by this, this has been processed here. So I receive this message, and this metadata has been stored in the context. Now the next step is to use this context, because now I just populate the context, but this is used nowhere. So I will do this using a new another script. So this is V2. Yeah. And I replace the custom AZ JavaScript, yes. So I will have a look to this new updated script. So this is the same as before. But now I have another argument. Not only I will use the message, but I will also use the context. And this time to get the metadata. So this has been sent in a previous message stored in memory, and I will use this to add a new source information to the message. Otherwise, this is just regular Synergy tedge flow script. So the topic, adding the topic environment, adding the source, and emitting 1, 0, or many messages, in that case, just one. And I can give a try. So now I will send tedge MQTT message. Not that one. So what is its name? So this is a child AZ. And I send this data to this guy, and I should have, yes, I have a source. And this source has been extracted from the context. And so this will be, in the case of the cumulativity mapper, you will have all the external IDs of the different child devices services to be able to send the data on behalf of those. So this is what I have to show. Any questions?
Yeah, maybe to highlight a few things. So part of the tedge flows, which will use smart functions to execute basically these JavaScript bits to integrate into your mappers and stuff. So this is part of the ongoing development. So a lot of the interfaces will still change, and naming might change and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's still important to get your head around all of the concepts and just show how easy it is now to then kind of control the formats of your data now. So for Azure and AWS, this has always been kind of critical for this because they have free-form data formats. So a lot of the information has been missing previously from those kind of cloud mappers. So this gives you kind of a easy way to then access the data to make it more useful than to do your server-side processing. But also for Cumulosity people, this will become very, very interesting once the MQTT service is live, because this will basically enable you to publish to the freeform topics that the MQTT service kind of then delivers. So then you can control the data formats and do fancy things like protobuf encoding and all this kind of stuff. So it's definitely a big kind of gearing up to making this extensible, configurable, and everything that has been missing from the mappers. So we're hoping that people get kind of familiar with this. So that's why, even though it's in preview status, we'll be kind of giving more and more demos to kind of show off the functionality as we go on. So yeah, very nice demo. And are there any remaining questions for the flow stuff? Harold?
Yeah, just a quick question. So you mentioned also cumulosity. So would you also be possible to use a similar approach to write to the standard cumulosity topics, but basically doing some modifications yourself and not using the QTT service?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the plan. So for the Azure, that is really intercepting the default mappings or like the rules it's using already. So that's basically splicing in your own logic with the existing logic. So that's why, yeah, see the built-in steps, like under the steps kind of array, you'll have built-in. So these are basically calling Rust-based functions that we're already using internally to do the mapping rules. So because the steps are basically like a pipeline of things like modifications that you have to the input message. So they take an input and they put an output, so you can kind of chain them together nicely. So this basically means you can splice in your own logic. So essentially controlling the output. So if you want to add kind of some normalization layer there, which is very specific for a few customers, or even like reject messages if they do not conform to your kind of standards, then you can just add it in the chain and drop it. So exactly what that limit payload size is for. So a lot of the clouds will actually have a upper limit of the payloads. And if you try to send a payload bigger than that limit, you will get disconnected from the MQT service or like from the MQT broker. So usually it's better to drop it locally so you have a continuous connection. But you could also then use that for whatever. So it can be used for filtering, normalization, aggregation, whatever you really want. So we're hoping it's quite powerful. Though that being said, doing something wildly different to change the standard format, there are kind of beauties of having something standard. Makes it easier to reason with it, especially if you're working across customers. But there's definitely, cases where those are the requirements from the customers. You have to do some kind of, splice some logic in on the mapper itself. Then this is actually then suitable for it. So it can be used for tedge topics or it can be used for custom topics. Totally up to you. So it's a really, really powerful mechanism to customize your whole, like pretty much everything about that edge. Yeah, so we're very excited about the feature, and I'm sure a lot of our users will also share our excitement for the topic. Okay, fantastic. So thanks Didier and Alvin for presenting today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on GitHub or in the tech community, so the Cumulosity tech community, and then we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.